I'm standing behind the counter at a beachside cafe in Byron Bay on a humid Thursday morning when this American couple walks in. The guy's wearing a tank top that says, "World's Best Dad," and she's got a massive camera around her neck. They stare at the menu board for like 5 minutes. Finally, the woman points at our flat white and goes, "Is that like a latte?" I say, "Yeah, pretty similar. Bit stronger." She smiles real big and says, "Oh, perfect. But can you make it with skim milk, extra hot, in a to-go cup, with 2 pumps of vanilla and caramel drizzle?" I just look at her. "We've got full cream or soy." "That's it." Her smile drops. She looks at me like I just told her we're out of oxygen. My coworker told me about serving an American family at a Gold Coast resort. The dad asked where he could find the nearest Target, because they forgot sunscreen. She said the closest one was probably a 20-minute drive. He got annoyed, said back home there's a Target every 5 blocks. She shrugged and said, "Well, mate, you're not in America anymore." He actually complained to the manager about her attitude. The manager laughed and told him the same thing. Then there's my friend who drives a taxi in Melbourne. Picked up an American businessman from the airport around 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. The guy immediately starts talking about how impressed he is with Australia's economic growth. Real chatty, seems nice enough. Then he asks, "So what do you really think about Trump?" My friend goes, "Honestly, reckon he's a bit of a dickhead." Dead silence. The American just stares out the window the rest of the ride. Left 1 star on the app. Said the driver was unprofessional and rude. My friend was genuinely confused because that's just how we talk here. But that was just the beginning of understanding why Americans struggle so much with Australian directness. Most channels would stop at funny travel stories. I dig into why these moments actually happen. If you care about what culture really reveals about people, you'll want to be here for the next one. Subscribe and stay a step ahead of the surface level takes a study. A broad student from California walked into my pharmacy in Adelaide on a freezing July afternoon. She's shivering, wearing shorts and a hoodie, looking absolutely miserable. She asks me where the Band-Aids are. I point her to the plasters. She looks at the shelf, confused, then comes back. "No, I need Band-Aids for cuts." I say, "Yeah, mate, those are plasters." She picks up a box, reads it, then looks at me like I'm messing with her. "Why don't you just call them Band-Aids?" I explain that's an American brand name. She stands there for a solid 10 seconds processing this, then goes, "Wait, so what do you call cotton swabs?" I tell her cotton buds. She literally takes out her phone and starts making a list of Australian translation words right there in the aisle. I work at a hostel in Cairns, checking people in every day. This American backpacker in his 20s arrives super late, around 11 p.m. on a Saturday. He's been traveling for 30 hours, looks exhausted. I hand him his key and mention breakfast is from 7 to 9. He asks if there's air conditioning in the dorms. I laugh and say, "Nah, mate, just fans. This is a hostel, not the Hilton." He goes quiet, then asks really carefully, "Are you mad at me or something?" I'm confused. "What? No, why?" He says back in Texas, if someone talks to you like that, it means they're annoyed. I explain I'm just being normal. This is literally how we talk. He didn't believe me until 3 other Australians at the desk confirmed it. Apparently, he thought everyone at the hostel hated him for his entire first day. A retired couple from Florida came into the museum where I give tours in Sydney. Real sweet people, probably in their late 60s. We're walking through the exhibit about Australian history, and the woman asks about Aboriginal culture. I start explaining the stolen generations, how the government forcibly removed Aboriginal children from their families. She's nodding along, seems genuinely interested. Then she asks, "But they were trying to help them, right? Give them better opportunities?" I stop walking. "No, it was cultural genocide. Destroyed entire communities." Her face goes red. Her husband immediately jumps in, says I'm being very aggressive about history. I wasn't raising my voice or anything, just stating facts. They asked for a different tour guide. My manager later explained that Americans sometimes mistake our directness for anger. I'm still confused because I thought I was being pretty gentle about it. That right there, the emotional misfire between honesty and hostility, is what I track across cultures full-time. Most people miss it completely. If you're the kind who likes to see beneath behavior, you belong here. Hit subscribe and stay fluent in how people really work. I'm a flight attendant on domestic Australian routes, mostly Sydney to Brisbane runs. We get American tourists all the time. One afternoon flight, this American woman in her 40s presses the call button during beverage service. I come over and she whispers, "Can I get a Coke?" I say, "Yeah, no worries." She keeps whispering, and, would it be possible, if it's not too much trouble? Could I maybe get some peanuts too? I'm standing there with a cart full of drinks and snacks. Yeah, of course. You don't have to ask like that. She looks relieved but confused. Later, she stops me and says, "Everyone's so nice here, but you all sound kind of mean." I explain that Australians just talk straight. We don't do the whole super polite customer service voice. She said it's been stressing her out because she can't tell if people actually like her or are annoyed with her. Apparently, she'd been over-apologizing to everyone for 3 days straight. I run a small cafe in Fremantle. Been doing this for 15 years. American tourists come in constantly asking for regular coffee. Every single time I have to ask what they mean by regular. They usually want a filter coffee, which we don't make. We've got espresso-based drinks, that's it. This one guy from Seattle got properly annoyed about it. Said we should know what regular coffee means. I told him that in Australia, regular coffee means different things to different people, so he needs to be specific. He complained that our menu was gatekeeping coffee culture. He literally used those words. Then ordered a long black, took one sip, and said it was too strong. Asked if we could water it down more. That's literally what a long black is, espresso with water. But apparently not enough water for him. A digital nomad from Portland walked into my cafe in Hobart around 10 a.m. on a drizzly Monday. Real hipster type, beanie in the middle of summer, typing on a MacBook. Orders a cappuccino and asks if we have oat milk. We do. Specifies he wants it extra dry, 180 degrees, in a 16-ounce cup. I tell him we don't do sizes like that. We've just got regular cappuccino sizes. He asks what size that is in ounces. I genuinely don't know. We don't measure in ounces here. He seems frustrated. Pulls up a conversion app on his phone. Does some math. Finally just says to make it however we normally do. When I bring it out in our standard cup, he measures it with his hands and says, "This is like 8 ounces." I shrug. Sounds about right. He cannot comprehend why we don't offer bigger sizes. Spends 20 minutes trying to explain American coffee sizing to me. I just kept making coffees for other customers while he talked. I work at a surf shop in Bondi Beach. The amount of Americans who think we're fighting with them is wild. This woman from Boston came in looking for a wetsuit, probably mid-30s. She tries one on, comes out, asks how it looks. I say, "Yeah, bit loose around the shoulders. Try a smaller size." She tries the smaller one, asks again. I say, "That one's too tight. You won't be able to move." She goes back to the first one, comes out again. "Which one should I get?" I'm getting a bit tired now. It's been 15 minutes. "Mate, I don't know. It's your wetsuit." "Whichever one's comfortable." She tears up. Actually tears up. Says I'm being really rude, and she's just trying to make the right choice. I'm completely confused because I thought I was being helpful. My manager had to take over. Later told me I need to be gentler with Americans. I genuinely don't know how to be gentler than I was. A military guy, probably late 20s, came into the pub where I bartend in Darwin. Super polite, thanks me for every drink. After his third beer, he starts chatting. Asks about local politics, Northern Territory stuff. I mention some corruption scandal with a local politician. He nods along. Then I say, yeah, the guy's a proper wanker. The American's whole face changes. Whoa, man, that's pretty harsh. I'm confused. What is? He says calling someone that word is really offensive. I explain that in Australia, wanker isn't that serious. We call our mates worse things than that. He doesn't believe me, thinks I'm covering, stops talking to me the rest of the night. Later, a local Australian at the bar confirms what I said, and the American comes back and apologizes. Said he thought I was genuinely hateful toward this politician. I mean, I am, but not because of the word I used. I'm a personal trainer at a gym in Perth. Got an American expat client, woman in her 40s who just moved here for work. First session, I'm watching her do squats. Her form's pretty bad, knees going way too far forward. I say, nah, that's not right. You're going to hurt yourself. Keep your knees behind your toes. She stops and stares at me. Are you saying I don't know how to squat? I'm confused. Yeah, that's why I'm here, to teach you proper form. She gets defensive, says she's been doing squats for years. I say, cool, you've been doing them wrong for years. Let me show you the right way. She actually canceled her membership. Left a review saying I was condescending and mean. I was literally just trying to stop her from injuring herself. My manager explained that Americans are used to trainers being more encouraging, using compliment sandwiches and stuff. I thought I was being encouraging by trying to help her not destroy her knees. A honeymoon couple from Chicago checked into the boutique hotel where I work reception in Tasmania. Real nice pair, probably late 20s. They ask for restaurant recommendations. I list a few places, mention which ones need bookings. The guy asks, what's the best one? I say, depends what you like, doesn't it? He looks a bit taken aback. Asks again, but if you had to pick one? I'm getting a bit annoyed now because I already gave them options. Mate, I just gave you 4 good spots. Pick whichever sounds good to you. The woman quietly says to her husband, maybe we should just Google it. They walk away, looking uncomfortable. Later that evening, they mentioned to my coworker that the daytime receptionist was kind of aggressive about restaurants. My coworker asks who was on, realizes it was me and laughs. Explains to them that I wasn't being aggressive, I was just being Australian. They seemed skeptical, but apparently they did end up going to one of my recommendations. Left a note at checkout saying the restaurant was great, but they wished I'd been more enthusiastic about it. There was this gap-year traveler from Atlanta at the rock climbing gym where I instruct. He's probably 19, first time climbing, super nervous. I'm teaching him how to belay. He keeps asking if he's doing it right. After the 4th time, I say, mate, if you weren't doing it right, I'd tell you. Stop asking. He goes completely silent. Won't ask any more questions the entire session. At the end, he very quietly says, did I do something to offend you? I'm genuinely shocked. What? No, you did great. He admits he thought I was angry at him for asking too many questions. I explain that I was just trying to build his confidence. Wanted him to trust himself. He said in America, if an instructor talks to you like that, it means you're annoying them. We ended up having a whole conversation about communication styles. He actually came back for more sessions and specifically requested me. Said once he understood I wasn't mad, I was actually the most helpful instructor he'd had. The best one happened to my cousin who works at a wildlife sanctuary near Brisbane. An American family comes through on a tour. Parents and 2 teenagers. They're loving the kangaroos, taking a million photos. The dad asks my cousin, so what do you think about Americans? My cousin, without even thinking about it, says, yeah, you're all right. Bit loud, but friendly enough. The mom looks horrified. That's so rude. My cousin is genuinely confused. What is? The dad tries to explain that saying someone is loud is insulting. My cousin laughs and goes, mate, you are loud? I can hear you from across the sanctuary. It's not an insult, it's just true. The teenagers are cracking up, think it's hilarious. The parents are getting more upset. My cousin finally says, "Look, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't be talking to you at all." Australians are honest. If we say something, we mean it. You're loud, you're friendly, you tip too much, and you ask a million questions. None of that's bad. It's just how you are. The dad thinks about this for a second, then starts laughing too. Says that's actually the most honest feedback they've gotten their entire trip. They ended up staying an extra hour just chatting with my cousin about cultural differences. Here's the thing about Australians. We don't really do fake politeness. If we think something, we usually just say it. It's not meant to be rude. It's meant to be honest. Most of us would rather tell you straight than dance around the truth. And these stories, they never stop coming. Every day, someone new learns that Australian friendliness sounds nothing like American friendliness, and the confusion is always spectacular. I break down culture clashes like this every week, not to mock them, but to decode what they reveal about human nature. If you're the kind of person who values understanding over outrage, subscribing isn't a favor to me. It's an investment in your perspective.